Hey, welcome to another edition of Ask the DNR right here on WCMU Public Television. Tonight we ask your questions, your outdoor questions to our panel of experts, and that's coming up next. Hey, welcome back, folks. Glad you could join us tonight. We're looking forward to getting into your questions, but we have some housekeeping to do right now. Number one, before I introduce the folks answering the phones, the Tigers won tonight. The Tigers won tonight. They're moving on. They're going to Seattle, what, on Saturday, Mark?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mark had it on the whole trip down, and I had my doubts. I still have my doubts, but at least they won and they're moving on. Go Tigers! I'd like to introduce the folks that will be taking your phone calls, and they're sitting in a green room back here, and the first person is Sue Sabisky there on the left. Susie's right there, and then Dave Hopp. You see him a lot involved with the Warden's television show. And there and on the right is, as I say, my main squeeze. That's my dear wife, Beth. So Beth Garner's there. You'll get one of those three people if you call in your questions, and please do that too, because it's fun when we get a lot of questions, and this show usually does that. We have with us tonight. Of course, on my right over here is Lieutenant Gerald Thayer, and he's out of the Plainwell office. And Dean Molnar, Joey Molnar. Joey couldn't be here tonight because he's on a moose hunt in Newfoundland.
With Dean.
With Dean, yeah. So our old stalwarts for 30-some years are gone tonight. But thanks, Gerald. Glad to have you here. And of course, in the middle here is the patriarch of the folks to answer the questions. This is the 32nd time, I think, that you've done this, maybe more.
Who's counting?
Because you filled in, yeah. But Mark, it's just always good to see Mark Tonello. Just always good. Always appreciate it, too. Been with us a long time. And then Chad Stewart, the deer biologist and wildlife biologist for the state of Michigan. Chad, you didn't think you could make it here tonight.
I didn't think so, but funny how things work out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's always fun to have you here. Hey, we have a number of questions, but the first one, Mark will go completely nuts if we don't get to this. So, and rightfully so, because it's all some pretty interesting news. How's the salmon egg take going on the Little Manistee Weir?
Yeah, got a good report. I just spent the last 3 days working at the Little Manistee Weir, helping take Chinook eggs, and we got in three big days, and we were able to get our entire quota for our hatcheries. We do have 2 days scheduled next week to get eggs for Indiana and Illinois, and hopefully that'll be Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we'll pull the weir and we'll be totally done. And any fish that are left can go upstream and spawn on their own. So it's gone very well. Fish are a little smaller this year, but we did have one big 28-pound hen come through yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, yep. Oh. And, yeah, we made sure we took her eggs. And so yeah, it's gone very well. Lots of fish, no shortage there. So.
And if somebody shows up at the weir, they can probably see.
Absolutely, it's a public facility. We love it when people come and watch and ask questions and get up close, and we'll even let you touch the fish if you want, if you've got kids there. Yeah, we love it when the public shows up and watches. It's quite the show.
This is good as good as it gets. So yeah, I always like those trips to the weir. And Hunter Appreciation Deer drop-in Mondays. Is that where you're having coffee with folks and things like that?
There might be coffee there. I know some the operation centers, the customer service centers have different snacks, but really what it is, it's sort of a new program that we did. We did it after the youth season this year, where we opened our office up and basically invited people in to bring their deer in and get it aged. You know, we have some goodie bags for them, so we're giving things out. It's just our way to basically say thank you for getting out and come in and show off your deer and tell us about your story and get out there and ask questions if you have it. So this next one coming up will be November 17th. So after the firearm season, we've got a Saturday opener this year. So it's it's at most of our customer service centers and several of our major field offices. Stop in anywhere between 10 and 3. We've got staff there. Bring it in. We've got patches. We've got different stickers and other goodies for people to give out. We'd love to age your deer for you. We'd love to hear your story about how your day went or your weekend went. Just come in and say hi and let us say thank you for being a hunter.
Have a little chat, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Gerald, Lieutenant Thayer, we have people are wondering how they can get a turkey license for the fall. They're still available, right?
Yes, absolutely. You can get a turkey license a few different ways. A traditional way, going in and buying it in person, but the new way that's kind of fun, and we do have an update on this, is you can use the Hunt and Fish app that we have.
Yeah.
If you have that handy app and you buy your e-license on there, you can get it immediately. So you could literally buy it day of and go out and hunt. And then the other cool thing about it is that you will then, you don't have to physically tag your turkey no more. You just register it right online right there through the Hunt and Fish app.
Okay.
So it's really kind of a nifty thing. It makes it very easy and convenient for our turkey hunters.
Moving along with the times, huh?
Yeah, yes, it's kind of in a developmental stage. I don't know if Chad can add anything to this where we're at with that, but we're testing e-licenses with our fall turkey season, and hopefully we can have some good results with it. We had it last fall too, and perhaps, do we have it in the spring? I think.
Yeah, we've gone over to all turkeys, and I think going into next year, we're going to expand that even further, and certainly even into deer. It'll be an option. It won't be a requirement, but it's something that will be available to folks if they want to pursue that.
Well,
Right.
we'll meet again here in early April, right, Mark? Yep. If we're offered a chance to come back, and I'm sure public television will do that.
The change I wanted to add, though, if I didn't make that clear, was when we had the e-license last time, you still had to physically tag your
Make
turkey.
up your own tag.
You had to make up your own tag, so we're streamlining things and continue to improve. You don't need to do that no more. As long as you're registered on the app, you're good to go.
Okay. And another steelhead question: what changes are made for steelhead regulations on Type 3 and Type 4 streams?
Yeah, we cleaned those up a little bit. We worked with the NRC. There had been a 20-inch minimum, which was kind of frustrating for anglers because a lot of people, if they want to harvest a steelhead, a lot of times a skipper steelhead is a perfect one to harvest. So there's no more 20-inch minimum on Type 3 and 4 streams. The select streams that the NRC chose, they do have a 1 steelhead limit, but it's just a 10-inch minimum, or 1 rainbow trout limit and just a 10-inch minimum. So it doesn't matter what size it is. The one exception to that is the Muskegon River below Croton Dam. We stock that area heavily with domestic rainbows, Eagle Lake strain rainbows that stay in the river and provide a fishery, and we wanted people to be able to harvest them. So on that river, you can harvest 5 rainbow trout, but only 1 over 20 inches.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's how you're going to differentiate.
Yep.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And somebody's saying, hey, I don't have a smartphone, I don't have a computer, so how do I make my report on taking a deer or turkey?
Oh, you actually have 3 different options available to you if you don't have your smartphone or internet access. One, you can find someone that does, right? If you have family or friends, all you need is your license number and
Just
your
go
birthday.
to any city and watch people walking around. They'll have a smartphone.
Yeah, getting someone, but other friends and family can report it for you. 2, give our staff a call. At the front desk office, customer service centers, they're great. They probably help people and report over 1,000 deer a year across the state for other folks. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's actually a phone-in option as well. If you call our main wildlife line, and that's 517-284-WILD, it'll take you through an automated phone system as well. It takes a little bit longer because they go through each question individually, and it does take a lot longer than the online version. But you've got 3 different options to report your harvest this year.
Okay, what happened to the, what happened, thanks much, Chad. Facebook, this one came in from Irons. What happened to the 2025 walleye plant at Tippy Dam? Did you plan to plant walleye there again?
Yeah, we plant tippy on a regular basis. Going back a few months now, I think it got stocked this year. We had a pretty good year of walleye production, and we were able to get caught up. So 90%, I think it got stocked. In the case that it didn't, it would just move to the top of the list for next year. But yeah, we do stock Tippy Pond on an every other year
A lot
schedule.
of walleyes are caught there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. No, it's a very good walleye fishery.
Folks from Glenny, they want to know different deer seasons. Does the regulation of having 22 caliber rifle in the woods still apply? You can't hunt deer with a 22 rimfire.
Correct.
You can with a 223 or.
Yes.
So anyway, well, let me read this again. With all the different deer seasons, does the regulation of having a 22 caliber rifle in the woods still apply? Can you have a 22 in the woods during that?
You can. I mean, obviously, if you're small game hunting,
Yeah.
trappers will use 22s
Yep.
and such. So you can, depending on what you're doing, but you just can't hunt deer with the 22. That would, as you already stated, that would be against the deer regs.
You know, it's really funny because my first gun season, this will be my 59th opening day in a row. I'm an old guy, okay? And when you hunted in southern Michigan, you could use a 22 long rifle. Totally legal back then. Isn't that crazy?
Did not know
Yeah.
that.
I didn't
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. Anyway, what are the regulations for riding a wheeled vehicle on a freshly groomed snowmobile trail? These folks from Mount Pleasant would like to know that.
Boy, I'm kind of digging back to when I used to work up north with all the snowmobile trails we have up there. So it is a conflict of interest between the 2 user groups, and certain trails have certain regulations of when you can and when you can't. So the area in which you're riding the trails or want to ride the trails, because the problem is some of our snowmobile trails are mixed trails with ORV trails, and that's where the conflict typically comes in. So if you're in one of those areas, I'd recommend calling the district office and asking those specific questions for that specific trail so you know what you absolutely can do or cannot do.
Yeah, and if it's up in the Cadillac area, those folks in the Cadillac office are, as they are in most offices, just really friendly and helpful. They want you to do the right thing, too. So for Elk Rapids, senior citizen tried to purchase a license online, and it tried to charge them full price. Went to the store and was able to get it at a senior price. Must have hit a wrong button, I would think, because I bought mine online, and I'm a senior, and seemed to work fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We can check in with our licensing folks, but it should allow you to take the senior discounted license when you purchase it. So if you do something like that, you can always, we issue refunds on things before. So if you do that and you find out you purchased the wrong thing, just reach out to our staff and we can make it right for you.
Okay, Chad, here is a beautiful question for you. This one comes from Mason.
Okay.
Okay, Mason. Yeah, you know exactly where that is.
Yeah, I'm down there.
And I can only imagine who this might have come from. How much damage does the DNR think agriculture can stand before they do something serious about the runaway deer herd? Is there anything more you could do?
We've got extremely liberal seasons. We've got, we issue crop damage permits, as you know. I mean, we had about 10,000 deer reported this year by farmers and landowners taken out of season. We'd obviously love to see those deer taken during the fall season rather than have to do this through the summer, but we understand there's a growing deer herd. We also have a declining hunter population. It's one of the bigger challenges we're going to be facing over the next coming years is a lot of deer in southern Michigan, and that's leading to a lot of conflict, both in agricultural industry and on the roads as well. So We would love to get a better handle on our deer herd, especially in some of those overabundant places. That's easier said than done, though.
And then you'll have somebody 7 miles down the road say there's no deer around. So, I mean, it's crazy.
It's a very localized issue.
It's a very
You can go
localized.
one area and there's a lot of deer, and you can go a couple miles over and someone's not seeing that many. So it's very challenging.
And the other thing you can do too is in fact, a friend of mine from Farm Bureau, he leases his property, and he was reluctant to make them shoot does because they want to shoot bucks. He says, you got a deer problem. You're the landowner. 85% of the deer or more are killed on private land. And if you're the landowner and you got a problem, I think I know what I'd be telling those guys they had to do.
Bob, roughly 1 out of every 4 Michigan hunters kills an antlerless deer, and that's it.
Yep.
We need that number to be a lot higher. And most hunters, if they're successful, will only take 1. So that's just not, the math is not going to work to get us to reduce a population in a place like southern Michigan like that.
So, yeah, so just do what you can as a landowner to make sure your herd's in balance. Snowshoe hares, what's happening with the population? Is it the coyotes or others? I think it's mostly we've got a lot of deer in some of those areas, and there's not a lot of cover for snowshoe hares.
Yeah, snowshoes are obviously very habitat dependent. I don't want to step too far out on that branch because I'm not an expert on snowshoe hares by any means, but they also is a population that tends to cycle. So you tend to see these ebbs and flows in their population. I'm not sure where we're at currently in our cycle of snowshoe hares.
And the other thing with snowshoe hares too is if the snow is not there, they have no protection. They're like watching sheets of newspaper go through the forest. Yeah, you probably saw that when you were in the UP.
I did. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost sad. I mean, it's just they've got no protection. So, okay. And why can we not shoot a bobcat at night? This question comes in from Hale.
Boy, the background to that, I guess I'm not sure of. I'll defer to Chad. Do you know the background behind that law by chance?
I do not know that one. So that one, we might have to just get back with you on that. We just maybe not have the right people on the panel to answer that one.
Well,
tonight.
yeah. Or call Joe when he gets back to Cadillac.
That's the other option. Yeah. Call him when he's in Newfoundland. He should be able to.
Yeah.
Let's call him right
Would you like his cell phone number? We can do that. Yeah. Oh, I like that. You guys are good. Okay. Anyway, what does somebody have to do to get their deer CWD tested? This comes from Ionia. Shout out to Bob Garner. Enjoyed you for many years. I don't know who it was, but I was glad to do it.
Take the kudos as long as you can get them.
Yeah.
Actually, we've got really a sort of a new and unique system this year. We've piloted it the past couple years, but we've made it statewide this year. Hunters can get their deer tested through a self-service test kit now. So if this hunter's in Ionia County and wants to test their deer for chronic wasting disease, go onto our website and just look up Michigan DNR CWD test kit. It'll bring up an option where we have all the distribution locations. You can go and pick these kits up. There's information included on how to pull out lymph nodes out of the deer's neck. It's very easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Pop it into a vial. It comes with an ice pack, and it's got a prepaid stamp on the package. You send it in. Everything is paid for on our end. The test, the mailing, everything. And in a couple of days, you'll get the result of your test back. So we're making this available to everybody. We realize that there's going to be more demand for this. It's much more efficient to get our tests done this way than to have our seasonal workers sitting at check stations for 8 to 10 hours a day waiting for someone to come in that may or may not bring it in. So we've got these distributed all around the state. They're free. Everything about them is free, so take advantage of it.
Perfect. That's a great solution. And then, Gerald, how about is there a permit to bait?
Boy, that is a conversation that's come up recently, and I don't think we decided to go with that.
Well, the short answer is no. We do not have a permit
Permit
to
debate,
bait.
right.
There has been an introduced bill in the legislature that's proposing that. It's certainly not the DNR's idea to bring that forward. We'll see where elected officials go with that. I've not heard that it has a lot of juice, but I don't know. There's a lot going on in
We've been
in
surprised
Lansing
before,
right now.
haven't we? Yeah.
There's a lot going on in Lansing right now, and I don't know where this falls in terms of the priority list, but the baiting license is not coming from the DNR, and right now that it does not exist. So that would be a legislative choice.
And a question from Charlevoix for guess who? Mr. Tonello.
The patriarch.
Update on the grayling stocking program. That is pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, although the news I've heard has not been great. Yeah. So the grayling were stocked into 3 different rivers this summer. The one I'm most familiar with would be the North Branch of the Manistee, and I just talked to some tribal folks the other day that have been a partner with us on this project, and they were out doing some electrofishing the other day and have not found any of them. We saw them they saw them for a couple weeks after they were stocked, and then we have not seen them since. So we'll be, we'll be continuing to watch. And in the Boardman system, the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa Indians, they were sheltering their grayling, or their allotment, in literally a streamside hatchery all summer. So they released theirs a little bigger. So we'll be waiting to see if that strategy, pays dividends. And then I have not heard anything. The other stocking was in the Maple River system, and I haven't heard anything on that one, which I'm guessing is probably not great news, but I could be wrong. But it's not something we're going to give up on, right away. Again, we've got a lot of partners. It's actually not primarily a DNR initiative. It's a group venture. Trout Unlimited, like I mentioned, 3 different Native American tribes, a lot of different funders and partners. So, we're gonna keep doing it and see what we can learn from it.
But it's exciting. You could, see what you can learn. I mean, that's fisheries management in a nutshell. What do you? Mark, kind of a cool question from Vanderbilt. What do you do with the salmon eggs once you take them?
With the salmon eggs, okay.
Yeah.
So with the eggs that we fertilize them right there on site. We water harden them up. We put them in some iodine to kill any disease that might be on them, and then we ship them same day right to our hatcheries.
And the main hatcheries are?
The ones that handle Chinook are Wolf Lake down by Kalamazoo, Thompson up by Manistee in the UP, and then Platte River Hatchery up by up by Honor, I guess.
Okay, here we go with a lot of questions, Gerald. Okay, when rifle deer hunting, can you carry a sidearm any caliber? Do you also need a small game license if you do?
So 2 parts to that question. The second one might need some explanation to it, but absolutely you can carry your sidearm when you're deer hunting, rifle deer hunting. You can. If you're bow hunting during the bow season, you need your CPL license to be able to carry that. And the second part of that question, can you read that again for me, Bob? Because it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Let
sorry.
Me,
you already
let
said
me
it
grab
now.
it here. Do you need a small game license if you do?
Okay, so obviously if you're deer hunting,
Yeah,
you need
got a
that
license.
base license.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're just out and about and you're target shooting or you have your pistol under the guise of your CPL license, you do not need a base license. If you are target shooting though, you have to actually be target shooting at a real target, there's no attempt to take game.
You're not plinking at stones in a gravel pit or something.
Right.
On a state gravel pit. Okay. When the DNR has hunts for farms for sportsmen against hunger, I don't think they actually do that. There are trailers full of deer. Do they all go into harvest reports also? When somebody takes a deer during the off season under crop damage, do they all?
Yep, you can go right now onto our website and look up the deer harvest, and we've got a drop-down menu there that says, I think it says deer damage, and that's our out of season. So you can sit there and look at every deer that's been reported from the summer, and then that also gets added on for the in-season stuff as well. So you can query that by out of season, in season. I think we had about 10,000 deer reported this year statewide for out of season.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And this, I'll take this question myself. Why are senior rates so expensive compared to South Carolina? Don't know. The legislature sets the rates. Folks, write this one down because it comes up every time. The DNR cannot decide license fees. It's done by the legislature of the state of Michigan. So send your legislator, give them a phone call, send them a letter, send them an email telling them you'd like to have the same rates as South Carolina, but you know, we have an awful lot of opportunities, especially fishing in this state, that are pretty doggone good. From Cadillac, Betsy River spearing salmon. Had a video of them doing it. Why was nothing done? Well, you'd have to know about it, wouldn't you? I mean, give them a rundown of what they should do if they see something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Call our RAP line immediately, and with any luck, we'll have an officer in the area or close by that can respond to that. Our officers, that's not my part of the state up there, but we have that a similar problem down in southwest Michigan.
Oh, you
as well.
do? Oh, yeah.
In certain areas, not quite as much as we experience up north, but yeah, that's the type of activity that we want to take care of. Snagging fish is one of those things that we don't appreciate, and spearing fish,
Even less.
even less. And so we are always happy to take those complaints and respond to him. But our officers do actively patrol the areas where that takes place quite a bit. But with so many officers in the state, we can't be out there 24/7, but we do appreciate the complaints that come in on those things.
Exactly, and to give them a chance to go work them if they can't get there right away.
Yeah, one thing I'll mention too is there is the possibility that it could have been tribal, because tribal fishers do have different regulations that I believe do involve sometimes the ability to spear salmon. I don't think the tribal members do that a lot, but it wouldn't be unheard of. So the other thing I'll mention is the Betsy River is in my area. It's a known salmon hotspot. It's a phenomenal salmon river, and our officers work that pretty hard. And if you had video of it happening and you contacted the RAP line, I can guarantee that they're going to be working with you and following up with you to get to the bottom of it, because they protect that river pretty adamantly.
To bolster the officers, the complement of officers that Lieutenant Molnar has up in that neck of the woods, once in a while, a few of my officers sometimes will go up and help them up there too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Look, you used to have officers come from all areas of the state to work that. I'm sure they do now. Mark, kind of an esoteric question. What is the biggest thing happening right now to improve fish habitat in northern Michigan rivers?
The biggest thing happening right now, I don't know if there's any one big thing, but what I would say is dams. I'm involved in dam removals. I put it this way, I never dreamed that the amount of time I would spend on dam issues, dam removals in my career, you know, when I first started, I never thought about that. One issue that's really become big too is the number of DNR-owned dams and the number of Fisheries Division-owned dams. Luckily in my area, I don't have any Fisheries Division dams, but I know my counterparts are having to spend a lot of time and effort. A lot of dams have a finite lifespan, and so they once they reach the end of that lifespan, it's either you spend a lot of money to repair them or remove them and restore the river. And so it can be a very controversial issue, but I would say dams is probably the biggest one. And I'm fortunate enough that in my management area, I've been involved in a number of dam removals that have really benefited the streams.
Well, you've worked with Conservation Resource Alliance.
That's correct. I have partnered with Conservation Resource Alliance on dam removal projects for 25 years, and they have been a fantastic partner Partner with other groups too, Trout Unlimited, Muskegon River Watershed Assembly, White River Watershed Partnership. So a lot of different things going on, but I would say the biggest issue going on our rivers would be dams.
Yeah, and you're fixing a lot of rivers at this point in time with CRA. I know that.
Yep.
So, if interesting question here, probably not so much for you, Chad, unless you get deer on the boat docks. And if a homeowner has a dock, is it legal for him to tell people on a boat fishing near his dock that they can't fish there? They can actually, fishermen can fish any. If you start telling people where they can fish in open water, you could be guilty of harassing fishermen, right?
Could possibly be, yeah. As a public waterway is a public waterway. It's like the sidewalk in front of my house, right? Even though that's my property, the public has the right to be there and walk their jog, walk, run, walk their dogs and stuff like that. So same applies to a waterway. We ask our anglers to be respectful around private docks and boats and do their best not to ding lures off of somebody's really nice shiny boat, but sometimes that does happen, unfortunately. But we ask them to be respectful of private property. But as far as their legal right to be there, they have every right to be there and do their fishing.
Just down the road is, as an old friend of mine would say, a spit and a holler, is a little town of Elwell. Interested if there are any EHD disease reports, Gratiot County, Seminole Township. Would you know? Did you see much of it this year?
Yeah, we've got EHD. It's really impacting parts of Jackson and Washtenaw County. We've probably got reports. We've got confirmation in 11 different counties. I don't believe that Gratiot is one of them, but we've got reports in counties all around there, and I would not be surprised if there's a few deer that have died from Gratiot. That being said, we're not getting a lot of reports out of that area. So the hot spots this year seem to be down around Jackson all the way through Ann Arbor, that Jackson, Washtenaw County area. They're really taking it on the chin right now.
It's pretty tough there, huh?
Yeah, they're losing quite a few. We've got a lot of deer coming in or being reported lost in those areas, and I think people in some of those areas are going to have a really tough hunting season because of the outbreak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it illegal to pick up driftwood off of Lake Michigan beaches? That's legal, isn't it?
That's perfectly fine. Yes, you can do that.
Okay.
As long as it's public, right? Don't be trespassing on somebody else's property to do so, but yeah, public.
Yeah,
That would be fine.
yeah, exactly. Cormorants are flocking to Croton Pond and taking lots of our DNR stocked fish. Anything DNR can do to help?
Yeah, there is. So the first thing is you got to tell us. So I heard about cormorants on Croton Pond 2 summers ago, but I never heard a peep this past summer. And we actually had initiated contact with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So we can't control cormorants, but the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service can. And so a year and a half ago-ish, we initiated contact with them, and basically the conversation was stay tuned. If we start getting reports in early summer of 25, we'll get the Fish and Wildlife Service involved. I never heard anything, so I assumed it wasn't a problem. Unfortunately, there's not enough of us that I can just go to every lake and look and see where the cormorants are. So if they are a problem, feel free to contact me or contact wherever your DNR biologist is, and we can absolutely work with you on that.
Still much of a coaster brook trout population up in the UP?
Yeah, some rivers. It's probably stronger in Canada. I know I do fish Ontario occasionally. I know they're more common up there, but yeah, there are coastal brook trout in Lake Superior that run on some Michigan streams.
Same batch of questions from Traverse City. Is there still a splake program in the state?
There is.
There is?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. At the moment, it seems like that's one that has been controversial literally for my entire career. But at the moment, there still is a splake program, and where we stock them, boy, they seem to do real well, and they seem to create some real popular fisheries. So,
somebody I think is kind of a little bit confused, but I understand the question they're asking from Mount Pleasant. Why is it always you're guilty before proven innocent with a DNR officer?
That's never the case.
That's never the
No,
case.
that we're Americans, right? And you have your rights, and we respect those rights very much. Now, when an officer is doing an investigation, he or she has to ask the questions.
Yep.
And that may feel as though they're implying that you're guilty. It's never comfortable to be asked questions. I was pulled over by a state trooper not long ago. I felt like I was in kindergarten again down at the principal's office for something I just stealing my friend's eraser or something. But you kind of get that feeling. It's kind of uncomfortable, but no, absolutely not. You are absolutely innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, period.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what. In fact, you watch the Warden show, it always says, everybody's innocent until adjudicated and found guilty or not guilty. So, grayling fish planting, Mark. Let's get back to this. This is kind of the cutting edge fishery stuff. Folks are saying 35, 40 years ago we planted grayling. I remember that we did, and it was a pretty good fishery for a number of years in some places. So anyway. Since this, and they're saying we had determined, I don't recall this, that the reason the stockings weren't successful is because the water temperatures were too high.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. We think that our rivers have, rivers like the Manistee, the Boardman, the Maple, many other rivers have suitable temps for grayling. I don't think that's the issue. When we planted them, 40 years ago, we used a different strategy. We planted yearlings. This time we planted fertilized eggs and let them hatch out into the river because Montana has had some success with that technique. In fact, they've done better with that technique than they have with stocking yearlings that spent a year in the hatchery. So that's why we changed our strategy, and that's why we think this chance has this time has a better chance for success. That said, for the grayling to do well in our streams, they're going to have to learn to live with other species, including brook trout and brown trout, both of which are very predatory on grayling.
Really?
And very competitive with grayling. And so we have a lot of evidence that of course, grayling were native to the Lower Peninsula and brook trout were not. As soon as brook trout were introduced in some places,
words, Mark. But you've done all the research.
Oh, yeah. And so we have evidence that shows that some of those streams, the brook trout outcompeted the grayling even before brown trout or steelhead were even introduced. So
really,
if straight up brook trout can outcompete grayling, we know they're going to struggle, against brown trout and steelhead. So we've chosen streams that don't have super high brown trout populations, hoping that perhaps the grayling can at least learn to live with the brook trout a little bit, but all that remains to be seen. And we won't know until we try. The other thing I'll say is that when we stocked them back in the 80s and early 90s, the only place we had any real lasting success was we stocked them in a couple of small lakes that had no inlets or outlets. Those were the only places that they survived several years and people were able to catch them. Otherwise, those yearlings, they lasted for 6 months and then they just disappeared. And we don't know if they migrated, if they got eaten. We don't know where they went.
It's kind of like turkeys, Chad. Turkeys were stocked here time and time again until they figured out what strains to get and to go out of state. And Turkey Federation got involved. Now, southern Michigan, where there weren't any turkeys, is just piled deep with turkeys. So yeah, you got to learn. Standing vehicle permit. Folks from Gaylord want to know. There's supposed to be an orange flag if you're hunting from a standing vehicle, and how big the flag needs to be.
It's always recommended, on your ORV, if you're hunting off your side-by-side or ORV, you should have the orange flag. But on your motor vehicle, you don't need one.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, from Fairview. How many lifetime licenses are there still left out there? Boy, a lot fewer, because they were so many years ago that, in fact,
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
one of my
We get a
friends
few
that tied a
deer
few-
reported through the lifetime license, but they are very, very few at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, I don't know how many would still be out there. It's an interesting question, though.
It is an interesting.
Yeah.
Next time when you're asking some folks around the licensing end of things, ask them how many.
Try and dig into that a little bit more. Yeah, that's a good one.
How many they've heard from. Howard City. As the DNR digs sand traps for trout on Tamarack Creek east of Howard City.
We do not. I don't think we ever did on Tamarack Creek. We do stock Tamarack Creek with brown trout and rainbow trout. Trying to think, we did a fish survey on it not too long ago and found some good holdover on those rainbows. We found some really nice brown trout, and we found a few wild brook trout that we didn't expect to find.
Really?
Either. Yeah. So Tamarack Creek's a very good trout stream. The problem with sand traps is that when that technology came online, 40, 50 years ago, we kind of oversold it, and we did it wrong. For a sand trap to be effective, it has to be really long, like a lot longer than you would think. You would need like a quarter mile of stream on Tamarack Creek, something that. And so then there becomes trade-offs of, you're tearing up the riverbank of a big chunk of stream. And then the other problem is you have to empty those sand traps as soon as they get about half to 2/3 full. You can't just do it once a year, because as soon as they get about half to 2/3 full, the sand just blows right through them, and then they're not functioning.
Oh, that makes sense.
So the problem is we were never able to build the sand traps big enough than we were supposed to, and we were never able to empty them often enough. So the principle is still sound. You could do it, but it would be uber expensive, and you would have to tear up a lot of the river to do it. So what we found too is that a lot of our rivers have enough gravel for spawning habitat. And so a lot of the rivers that we had sand traps on previously that were not operating anymore, we have not seen any declines in trout populations.
Okay. Beaverton. This is for both Chad and Gerald. Why can't I transport deer from the lower to the upper peninsula, or transport deer from the lower to the upper peninsula? Why would
Transport or transplant?
Transport.
Transport deer. So you can.
There's
You,
no-
A dead deer?
You can, unless
Harvested
you're referring to the CWD zone down in Montcalm County. A portion of Kent County and a portion of Ionia County is our CWD zone. And you have to follow some special regulations to transport deer out of there. Doesn't mean you can't, but deer shouldn't leave there unless
they're processed or whatever?
process the meat, deboned meat, right? So it's already been processed, or you're going directly to a taxidermist or a processor where they can test that CWD deer. So those kind of things, it's right in our guide. It lists the exceptions to transporting your deer out of that area. Other than that area, I don't think there's any other part of the state that has issues with transporting.
Correct, unless they were talking about actually capturing and transferring live deer.
Yeah, transplant.
Moving them, from the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula. And there's a couple reasons why we wouldn't do that. I mean, Lieutenant Thayer mentioned, we've got disease in several counties, CWD. When you move a live animal, you move the entire biological package, right? And there's no approved live test for something like chronic wasting disease. So that's one concern. Two is it's been done historically, moving deer around, and what we see is they don't really do well. They don't survive in some of those conditions. When you move, there's so much stress associated with the capture process, and then you're putting them in an area that they're completely unfamiliar with. Now they have to navigate new habitat, a different suite of predators that might be existing on the landscape that they're not familiar with. We would expect survival to be very, very low. So the cost, the likely outcome are all reasons why, and the risk of disease concerns are all reasons why we would not entertain that idea.
Okay, do you need to call DNR to camp? You do on state land, or you need to stop, by and get a permit, right?
State land permit, camping permit, right?
Yeah, you don't have to call. You can just
Yeah,
get it. You can get it online, or you can stop at a district office and get it.
Yeah.
And you just need to put it out visible at your campsite.
Right, and then right on that permit is the rules that you need to follow, so I'd recommend you read the rules so you know what you can and can't do.
The main thing is pick up after yourself, for crying out loud.
That's the
I
big
mean,
one, yeah.
Yeah, do what your mother told you to do. Okay, when walking and horseback riding out of the Pigeon River, is it legal to pick up shed elk antlers, or must they be left alone? Fall from Brutus.
Yeah, that would be legal to pick up sheds.
Okay, cool. But yeah, how has the cutback on government workers affected DNR? Fisheries, I think, is working with fewer employees than they've had in 50 years, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know what they're referring to as
From
far
Alpena.
as well as far as like you know, I don't know if it's the federal, you know, Doge effort or whatever, but what I'll mention about our budget is that we are in a budget crisis, and if we don't get more revenue, our anglers will start seeing very obvious results. We don't have the funding. We have not had a funding increase in a long time, and the cost of living cost of everything continues to do this. And so, so we're working with some of our angler groups and the legislature right now. You know, I think a bill might have even been introduced recently that would change fishing license prices and add some new wrinkles. And if something like that were to pass, that would be really helpful. And we're appreciative that the legislature is starting to understand, you know, where we're at and the direness of our situation.
And again, it is the legislature that sets the license fees, and the license fees go to fund
Correct.
deer license or deer.
Yes.
Deer.
The majority
or
of
fees, or
so I won't
fish.
speak for wildlife, but for fisheries, the majority of our activities are funded by fishing license sales and Dingle Johnson taxes. So.
Yep. Okay. From Perry, good one here. How close to we always get this one. How close to a property line can I hunt?
There's no regulation on the property line. As long as you have permission to hunt that side of the property line, you can be as close to as you want to it. Obviously, ethics would tell a person with common sense not to shoot onto that neighboring property that you don't have permission on, or to trespass onto that property, but there's no regulation. There is our safety zone if you're hunting with a firearm, but that's from a residence, a barn, a garage, something to that effect. But if there's none of those structures around, you can be pretty close, right there on the property line.
I'll add one thing too. If you're going to do that, you should talk to your neighbor in case you shoot a deer and it runs on their property.
Yeah.
I had a guy set up a tree stand literally right on the property, on my property line, which I'm fine with, but I wish he would have come to me and said, hey, would you mind if I come on your property if I shoot a deer and it's wounded? Because of course I would have said yes, but never did. And so I always wonder, well, if he shot a deer, what would he have done? Would he have just trespassed, or?
And every year we get that same question about, well, I shot a deer, ran onto my neighbor's property. What do I do? Well, you don't do anything until he gives you permission to come there, unless you want to face the trespass. Yeah.
Right. You have no right to go and get that deer until you have permission. Now, I will say that some property owners, you got a deer on my property, I won't give the permission with the idea that they're going to go get it. Well, that would be an illegal deer if they took possession of it, because they weren't the ones that
reduced
that into their bag, right? They weren't the shooter, the licensed hunter. And so we've had those cases where somebody will call us, this gentleman won't let me on his property to get my deer. That's fine. I understand the law. I have no rights to it. But I just watched him go take it and drag it in his barn. Well, now we're on the property, and that property owner's in possession of an illegal deer. So
yes.
It's got to just lay there dead, which is an awful waste. So.
Wonder about this human discourse of just talking to one another, Right. I mean, wouldn't that solve it?
You would think, yeah.
What do you think, Chad? Chad, can you believe it? You're in all this regulation business, and you're dealing with the science and all that, but it's these questions that come up like that could be, it's got to drive you nuts.
Just being a good human goes so far, right?
It does.
Yeah. Being a good neighbor, that's 90% of life, I think.
Exactly. And when you could trust people maybe letting them hunt. We all hunt somebody else's land most of the time, or they hunt ours. By the way, Anastasia's daughter, I understood, got a doe during the youth season. We got a
Whose property was that on, Bob?
that's not that big a deal. So. But we're always glad to help out. Always glad to help out. This is fun. Can you? Oh, back to the 22 and whether you carry the 22 and while you're deer hunting. Okay, say you get into this position where you've shot the deer, you've gotten to it, everything's legal up to that point, but it needs the coup de grace, the finishing touch. Can you then pull your 22 pistol out and shoot it?
No, we would recommend you use a legal firearm, a legal weapon, because then it's going to raise a lot of questions like what just happened here if one of our officers stumbles onto that and there's a 22 bullet hole in your deer.
Right, dead center between the eyes there, yes. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, and this is, we've got more questions too about nose-to-nose interaction with deer, but that's basically what we're trying to avoid with the baiting regulations and stuff, so we don't pass diseases on. Union Street Dam, will it be fisherman friendly, and when is the completion date?
I
That's
believe
up in Traverse City.
Yeah. So that's the Fish Pass project. I believe there will be fishing allowed below Union Street Dam. I have not heard that there won't be. It's one that it's not in my specific area, so I haven't paid a ton of attention to it. I know they've been working on it big time and gotten a lot done. I'd like to think that maybe next summer it'll be done, something like that. But don't quote me on that. If you really want to know, give Heather a call at our Traverse City office. She's more well versed on Boardman River issues than I am.
Question from Wexford County, DUP deer hunting. He wants to give his meat to his fellow hunter, but he wants to get his head mounted. Who should the license stay with? That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Yeah, the license should always stay with the head until it's completed.
And then it's pretty interesting because in Texas, when I go down there and hunt in December, in Texas, the license must stay with the meat. Mm-hmm. So it's a good question to ask. And hey, how about this one? Can you feed pond fish food to minnows in the lake?
Yeah, I don't know of any regulation against that.
I don't know. Can you feed? You do worms and worms and
fatten up the
spawn
bluegills
sacks?
that live off the end of your dock. And,
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that you can't do is you can't chum in a trout stream or in a stream. So that is one that is one thing you can't do. But in a lake, chumming is still legal. So.
Oh, it's a cool question. Easy answer from Elmont over in the Thumb. Lapeer County. If I just catch and release, do I need a fishing license? You do if you're over 17, don't you?
Correct. If you're
17
17 or older, you still need a fishing license for catch and release, yeah.
Yeah. I should ask you guys, what's the strangest question you were ever asked? We're just about done here, but...
I had some fellas up in the UP build, from what I could tell, it was legal what they were doing, but they built a homemade cannon, and they were wanting to hunt deer with that cannon off their back porch into the back 40. And I was like, no crew-served weapons allowed during our deer season.
Okay.
That would be against the law. That was a pretty interesting
That's a good one.
That is a good one. You, Chad?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out which one. I mean, I like the ones that tend to have like almost like a folklore with it. Like I've gotten questions before about how many Black Panthers have been released by the DNR.
Oh yeah.
Of course, the answer is zero. But
if you were an old geezer like me, you would have got. I had more guys tell me that a good friend of theirs, whose brother-in-law saw it happen, saw when the DNR released coyotes into southern Michigan to take care of the deer population. I heard this stuff 50-some years ago, okay? And I can tell you how many coyotes were released by the DNR anyway in southern Michigan. But their brother-in-law saw it, or his buddy saw it, the sister to, anyway, oh yeah. Yeah, so you have to be pretty careful, don't you, with believing much of the old, some of the old things. Clam River regulation, Ellsworth. We're getting short on time here, but why did they extend that you couldn't fish Atlantics out to the end of the dock? You got any idea about that?
Boy, again, not
That's
my
not in your
my
district.
turf, but I could only surmise that perhaps it was a snagging issue.
Yeah.
Because I do know the Atlantics move into that Clam River. I don't know. That's a good question. Again, Heather in Traverse City covers that area. She knows that Atlantic salmon program very well. I need to get up there and catch myself one because I haven't done that yet. But yeah, give Heather a call.
Bay City, real quick here. Why didn't we get many 30-pound salmon? Size down, probably forage down a little bit?
Yeah. So it just depends. A couple years ago, we were catching quite a few. Our anglers were catching quite a few 30-pound kings. The last couple years, the forage has kind of diminished a little bit. So it's all based on what they have to eat. That's what the growth is based on. So.
You know, we're getting pretty close to down to the final minute here. Any Massasauga rattlers in Otsego County? You would know that.
I'm not no snake expert, but I gotta believe that there are a few, not many. But in Southwest Michigan, we certainly do have a population of them.
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, we have to wrap this up. Mark will probably make the decision of when we're coming back in April. I would assume it'll be the first week in April, and I'd like you all to join us. Joe may be back, but you're always welcome at any time. And I want to thank the folks that answered the phones. And also, Chad, you were in some doubt about being able to be here tonight, and I'm so glad you were. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark. You're always leading the way. And Gerald, nice to meet you. Nice to get a chance to
be here.
Talk some questions and answers with you. So, folks, remember, public television, they're the ones that care. They're the ones that care about our hunting and fishing stuff. That's the only place you're going to find a show like this. So we'll see you again in April.